really good.
What I
Say
don't
your name
understand is why
this time.
I'm wearing
Agendas for today's meeting as well as a sign-in sheet. If you go ahead and please sign in. January 14th Planning Commission meeting to order, and I would like to wish everybody a happy new year. And the first thing we'll do is determine the quorum, and we have all 7 commissioners present. Review of minutes. The minutes from December 10th, 2020, you all received them. Do I have a motion to approve them as submitted?
Move to approve them as corrected.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye, and I'd like you to raise your hands today on the vote, make it much easier in keeping the minutes. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. Rezoning request, number 819, property owner Mad Dog Development LLC, applicant James Wheeler, 17A and Fisher Road, change from R1 to CG General Commercial. Mr. Davis.
Yes, if you look at your screen, you'll see the parcel highlighted in red here. This area is located with an area that has the medium density traditional neighborhood on the future land use map. This area anticipates residential development, supporting commercial services. What makes this particular parcel supportable for staff is, I'm sure everybody here is familiar with the Berlin G. Myers Phase 3 road. And this is basically, I'm going to switch off to our GIS now, the alignment of how it's going to come right through here. This is the subject parcel here that we're discussing as a part of this rezoning. So there's the alignment. Here's existing 17, and you can see the right-of-way kind of showing how this will be in the future. So we anticipate this, basically this area, to act as a commercial future node. This is a rezoning, kind of getting a little bit ahead of it. It's only 900 feet from this particular intersection. And, you know, 5 years ago with Phase 3, I don't know. But today, I think it's pretty solid. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Did we have any input from the public on this? None. Okay. Anybody here who would like to speak for or against this rezoning? Yes, sir. If you'd please come forward and give us your name and address, please.
My name is James Wheeler, and my address is 15 Lombardi Lane, Hanahan.
And you are the applicant?
Yes.
And, okay, commissioners, any questions for the applicant?
No.
That was easy, thank you. I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion on the rezoning request? Hearing none, all in favor say aye by raising your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Rezoning request number 820, property owner Branton Joint Properties LLC, applicant is Keem McLaughlin, 204 Orangeburg Road. We're going from SR Suburban Residential to Single Family Attached. Mr. Davis.
Yeah, so the applicant's requested R3, and if you look on your screen again, we have the parcel highlighted in red. You'll see to the south of that, we have 2 parcels that are already zoned R3. I'm going to switch to the GIS map now so you can get a better perspective of it. Here's Dorchester Road. Here's where Orangeburg comes off. Here are your existing R3 parcels. This is the parcel right here that's being discussed tonight to rezone to R3. Staff recommends approval of this. We believe that just based off the natural kind of high ground and low ground on this parcel, even though it's Orangeburg Road, and this does increase the density, its proximity to Dorchester Road and that improvement in that intersection as it's so close to it, as well as the existing townhome development pattern that exists already that's approved for the one just to the south. And as a part of their R4 rezoning exercise, this one defaulted to R3 to continue this townhome development. That this will just kind of almost be like a little enclave of townhomes right here as you kind of peel off to start off of Orangeburg Road. It is in the TOD. It will require all appropriate approvals, including Planning Commission approval. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Was there any input from the public on this one?
No, sir.
None. Anybody here who would like to speak for or against this rezoning or represents the applicant? Yes, sir.
I am the applicant. Again, I'm the applicant. My name's Keen McLaughlin. I represent ESP Associates. Quite simple, I think Mr. Davis did a good job. We're requesting R3, open to any questions that you might have. Just continuing what is already to the south of us. We're considering some townhouses. Half the site is wetlands, so there's not a whole lot we can do. So I think R3 is a pretty,
Do we know yet what the town houses are going to look like?
not yet, no. We're quite a ways from anything like that.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant?
About what percentage of it is wetland on the property?
Over 50% when you account for the wetlands and the buffers.
Okay,
Yeah, it's over 50%, and they're not in the best arrangement, so we're gonna have some work ahead of us to make it, yeah. It's
Okay.
pretty squirrely, yeah.
Anything else?
I have a question, and it's more out of curiosity than anything else. But there is some sort of a thoroughfare or a road or a power line behind this property? What would that be?
That's Salt Branch Creek Canal. That's the canal, Salt Branch Creek. That's the ditch, you know. yeah.
That's it?
We hit just a little corner of that, and as I mentioned, it's all wetlands pretty much downhill from there. We won't even be close to that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Do we have a
I'll second.
second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hands. For aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, subdivision applications request, none. Street name requests. We have Adirondack Drive, Current Road, Love Bug Lane, Artfully Avenue, Azalea Blossom Way, Blissful, Battery Street, Boathouse Lane, Citronella Circle, Country Dirt Road, Drift Rose Drive, Dune Sand Court, Fire Pit Lane, Keeper Lane, Logger Street, now we're talking, Better Olive Lane, Muscadine Lane, Red Dirt Road, Skipping Stone Drive, Tea Time Drive, Tiny Tread Street, and last but not least, Watermelon Way. Those are new street names. Do I have a motion to approve the street name request?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion on the street names? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Who comes up with these names, just out of curiosity? I've always wondered.
Marketing firms.
Seriously.
Does the post office approve?
It's not a duplicate.
Citronella, that's those things we used to burn in the car at the drive-in, right? Keep the mosquitoes out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, new business, waiver modification requests. Mr. Davis.
So here you can see we've had a lot of modifications. That's the Planning Commission's ability to adjust our land development code that lies in your authority. Here tonight, we have to you again the section of the modifications that explains that process, that you all hold that authority to approve at the Planning Commission level a modification of the land development portion of our code. Staff does not have that authority, only you do. So we put these things in front of you to discuss them and approve them. If you approve, that means we can approve. Tonight's is a plat, and this is kicking in what's typically called kind of lot ratio depth to width of a code. It is a common code. It's almost in every subdivision land development code. Here you can see this is the plat itself, and I'll go to the GIS so you can get a little proximity of here's Orangeburg Road, here's Akram. We're just a little bit up from where we were just discussing, right here. Here's the parcel, right here, and you can kind of see a pattern of some of the larger lot development already in here. So what's occurring here is if the Planning Commission was to approve the modification, that would allow simply staff to approve this plat as submitted.
Questions?
These, I can't hardly read it, but these lots are 50 feet wide?
Yeah, so the zoning requires the minimum lot width. And so you'll see in here that from that standpoint that they're not requesting a modification from the minimum lot width, just the depth to width ratio. And they all meet that minimum lot width. So I mean, just for, if you all want to kind of just talk to some just simple things through this, I'll just tell me when to be quiet. But here you got some existing lots. Let's just take a theory that this land back here didn't belong to this parcel, and this was the back of it. And they came in and did 3 lots, 50 feet wide, looked just like these. Plat probably would have rolled right through. This simply just has an old, deep lot. And because of that depth, trying to get 2 lots from it, it kicks in the length to width ratio. So you're almost kind of punished for having the additional deep lot. If it was me, I probably would have approached this person right here, cut it off here, sold them this land, and then had these 3 lots. I personally think that would have been the most profitable way to approach this, but I'm not the one who's managing this plat and subdivision of property.
Well, I'm a great believer in pushing everything down for decision-making, and I have no problem with this personally.
Okay.
I think it's very simple, the width to depth ratio, and I see no reason why the planning department can't prove that, but I will leave that up to the commissioners. Do I have a motion
I'll motion to approve.
to approve, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, do we have any further discussion?
It just seems to me look at the unusual shape of these lots. I mean, this is what we're here for, is to help people do something with their property, particularly when they have a hardship like this, or somehow it got cut up like this. Yeah.
Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion to second. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, official map amendment. This one came down from county council, right?
That's correct. So just to kind of, well, I'll let you, yes. So this is an official map amendment. And so just to kind of differentiate between why this isn't under the rezoning is because this is a map amendment that's initiated by the county, very similar to the R4 rezoning process. We are amending the map. It's not an application for a rezoning from somebody else.
My only question would be, why wasn't it done before now? No, it makes perfect.
Look, I'll tell you, staff looks all the time and asks that question on a lot of things.
Currently industrial, is that right?
Yeah, so if you look on the map, this is an exhibit of the parcels themselves.
But none of them meet the I requirement.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know
No,
why they
this-
were ever done that way.
Well, there's some history in the staff report where it kind of bounces back and forth from the county. These were done prior to zoning and land development.
Well, isn't this the old Clint Ashley development? Robert, you remember? It was Clint Ashley, I think, developed.
Now, Ed, you're dating me, and I'm
one where
not
they
sure I
had
remember
chits
that
for
far
the
back.
sewer?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't do the what?
Where the people who bought a lot got a chit for a free sewer hookup in the future?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the history well enough on that. on when this was done, but I can tell you that this was done when we refer to as the Wild West, prior to any rules. You could just go out, they recorded this plat, and, you know, to kind of not tout the rules that we have today, they are in place to prevent this from occurring again, so people aren't having to deal with these problems in the future. So yeah, this is a council-initiated rezoning that simply came down. So these lots here would all, if you recall, we had an application that was a rezoning by a citizen for some lots in here. Where am I? Let me orient myself here. Yes, they're like right in here.
Yep.
That went from R1 to R2. So this would then just kind of continue that R2 pattern. And the idea is that between the owners in the existing industrial district and the owners who have that, they get the same R2. The lot sizes will probably remain the same. Some of them might get consolidated to meet the requirements for stormwater, but they're probably just going to get sold to a land development or a builder, and then they're going to go in and construct the roads, build the sidewalk, build all the stormwater, and then we're taking land that can't be used today in a pretty ideal location, and we're making it usable.
Sewer?
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
So it will have to be worked out.
I was going to say, what was the status of it? It's to be worked out.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chair, from a planning standpoint, you know, I'm seeing industrial buildings nearby, and this would give you an opportunity to have some sort of a workforce housing near these industries that are all out in that corridor. And it's something that's desperately needed, not just in Dorchester County, it's needed all over the low country. The price point of people being able to afford housing, not necessarily anyone sitting up here in this room, but people that, you know, are new couples, older couples, you know, firefighters, people like that. This is perfect for that, and near these industries where they can have employment. So I see this as a win.
Good.
Question,
Go ahead.
are all of these lots under one ownership, or?
No, there's multiple ownership of these lots, and that is in what is kind of what creates the issue. If you had one owner, there would be more options that could be done with this land. But the fact that all of these unbuildable lots were created because we did not have good subdivision laws in place at the time creates this problem. You can see today, none of them ever been built on, and we are having to clean it up as the government to make it buildable now.
Any further discussion there? I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve them. Any further discussion? Hearing none, raise your hand. And it's unanimous once again. And I'll turn the gavel over to Mr. Pratt for his committee.
Oh, my goodness. Almost caught me flat-footed, Mr. Chair. I think we had a meeting close by here, and we discussed the opportunity for a chair and vice chair for this commission for the next year. And the consensus was that we stay with what we got, which would be having Mr. Carter chair this commission, and that we have Mr. Touchberry vice chair it. Not sure if anybody has anything they want to, we would come forward with a motion for that, Mr. Carter, but if you have any other nominations on the floor, certainly that would be up to you. I guess I'm running that, so I'm running this, excuse me. If any, are there any nominations from the floor? Guess we would need a second, though, wouldn't we? We'd need a second for that recommendation.
No.
Coming from
because it's
committee,
not a
you wouldn't
committee, a second's not required.
Right, coming from committee wouldn't need it, so, yeah, if there's any nominations from the floor, please bring them forward. Hearing none, then I would need us to vote on the motion, and all in favor say aye. Or raise your hand. Nobody said aye. Let the record reflect, everyone raised their hand. Except for the two people nominated, they abstained. All opposed, and the ayes do have it. And I turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair. Sorry for that rambling exposition.
Thank you, Ms. Pratt. I appreciate that. I have no report. Planning Director. Yes, ma'am.
All right, just a couple of quick things. The first is in reaction to the increasing case counts that we've seen lately, and then also transmission within the county, internally within the county government here, that we're going to be switching all meetings to virtual meetings for the foreseeable time future. Council meetings starting this next Monday will be held virtually. We'll be transitioning Planning Commission and BZA as well. We're working with IT, so we're going to reach out to all of you to make sure that you have everything that you need in order to be able to participate virtually, as well as provide some training sessions to make sure everything's running smoothly and everybody's comfortable with it. If you want, you can watch the council meeting on Tuesday on the county's YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube, type in Dorchester County Council, you can watch the meeting live on YouTube, or it'll be recorded. You can watch it afterwards to just see how how it'll flow going forward. I don't know that we have any applications yet for next month. Do we? We do have applications for next month. Okay, so there will be a meeting for February. All right, so we're gonna try to get in touch with all of you as soon as possible in order to make sure we get everything up to speed on that. Next, and this might be affected a little bit by going virtual, but now that we are done with the R4 multifamily exercise, we're going to be stepping into the rural zoning. We've had some discussions with some of the council members, with Mr. Carter and Mr. Touchberry about it. The approach will be different than the R4. It won't be a large-scale rezoning. It'll take the form more of text amendments. So I think that it'll be a nice soft step into it, and it won't be as large as the R4 exercise was. But we're going to get started on that. The only thing that we have to double check is just going to this virtual platform. We still want to make sure that everybody has access to the meetings and ability to participate, and we don't want anyone to feel that they were cut out intentionally or otherwise. So we'll be moving forward this spring with that. And then you should have all received an email from me about a training session that's coming up. So everybody, you finished your training for last year, yay! And but now it's the next year, another 3 hours to do. I'm going to try to push them out as often as I get things sent to me so that you can sign up for classes that seem interesting or relevant to you, and also ones that have the ability to participate from home. So for instance, this one from DNR, because you register individually from home, they're able to track your attendance and send you your certificate. So you don't have to come here, you don't have to participate as the group. It just makes it a little bit easier. That's a relaxation of the standards that they just put into place this past year. So
Looks like a subject that's relevant.
I think so, especially considering the fact that the Conservation Commission has approached this commission, I think it was about 2 years ago, regarding the buffers along the Ashley River. And I think it's still in their minds that they'd like to do it. So I think it will at some point come back, discussing buffers along the Ashley River. And this might just help give you a better understanding, those wetland buffers, those riparian buffers, and the purposes and functions that they serve, and how to regulate them. So if you're interested, you've got the email, you can go ahead and sign up and register for it. I think, like I said, it'll be pertinent. So that's what I got.
Okay. I don't know about the rest of the commission, but I would kind of like to see a timeline on how we're going to do the rural rezoning.
Okay,
To kind of walk us through, each step and
Sure.
what our kind of deadline is on that.
Yep, I
That
can-
would help me.
yeah, I can put something together for you.
Would y'all like to have that? Okay.
Yeah, that would help.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chair, one time we talked about going to the industrial corridor first, doing the purple areas and
Right.
kind of knocking those out. And we were, I think, relying on economic development to help us a little bit on that. And I don't know if we ever got too far with that. So, I mean, I'm not sure how the approach will be this time, but just bringing that back for the history.
Yeah, and we did have some discussions along that line, and I think with the industrial component, we're going to try to, it'll be incorporated as part of this exercise, but on a smaller scale, and I think centered around the Ridgeville Industrial Campus, that Ridgeville area where we're seeing most of the industrial growth, and focusing our efforts there. and then possibly identifying sites in our growth master plan or growth management plan, which will be separate but referenced through the process to identify sites where we could go industrial. But like I said, most of the effort at this time will be focused on text amendments and not so much large-scale rezonings.
I think the way they've got it laid out, it's going to make it a lot easier than the approach we've taken in the past.
Whatever we've done in the past, we don't need to do that again, I can
Yeah.
promise you.
Yeah.
That's why I think this time, third time lucky, may be successful, hopefully.
We're still being recorded, aren't we? Yeah, okay, well, anyway. Mr. Chair, I had one more question. What platform will host our meetings? Will it be Zoom? Will it be Microsoft?
I think it'll be Microsoft Teams. That's what the county is set up to use.
But Mr. Davis was telling us before the meeting, there's a lot to be resolved. There's going to be a lot of information should be coming out before the next meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
How to do this. And you're talking about the Wild West of zoning. Let me tell you, the Wild West of traffic is at that Ridgeville Park in the morning at 6:30.
Oh, really?
It is something to behold what's going on up there. It is really, really something.
Ed, are you on the road at 6:30?
Pardon?
Are you on the road at 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking. It's early time, you know. Dark, too.
Those of us who live out in the country, we get up early, go to bed early. I go to bed at 8:30. All right, anything else? The public, we have so many members of the public today. Any comment? Okay, there's one other motion in order.
So moved. Adjourned.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. 25 minutes, I love it. Yep.